Alright, so the Chapter 7 case study. You need to read this case study carefully. Read the first couple paragraphs so that you can answer the question 2C and 2D. What assumptions did you make and what limitations? Now again, not assuming that you did the calculations right. You're assuming something from the study, that we could do this. And what limitations were there? We'll read what Abby did and what the whole thing was about. Then we look at question number 1. Confirm that the standard deviation, Abby's absolute deviation, that's what they call it, and the mean, standard mean, are the same as the ones in the table for HDL cholesterol. So, on the first page, it says Abby estimated each mean by taking the midpoint of its reference interval. So they gave a low point and a high point, and she found the midpoint, and that was her mean. Used the range rule of thumb, so the standard deviation was the range divided by 4 of, again, those two numbers. So, in this first problem here on 413, the reference interval for HDL cholesterol is 35 to 150. So to find our mean, you find the midpoint, find your standard deviation, you find the range divided by 4 of those two numbers. That's it. That's number 1. I want to see the work, and then you're done. Then we're looking at number 2, using her criteria. Her criteria is mentioned in here, number 2. It's not our unusual cutoff that we usually have. It's what she wants. And her mean and standard deviations provided in her blood test find the probability that she would get the test value given. So what it says here, for any blood component measure that was below its population mean, so whenever her value was less than the mean, she would find the probability that X is less than that value. So HDL cholesterol here, her value is 42, the mean is 92.5, so we're going to find the probability that X is less than 42 using this standard deviation, or this mean and this standard deviation. For any component that is above, so here LDL cholesterol, the next one here, 181, is higher than the 64.5, so she's going to find the probability that X is greater than 181. And we do that for all 17 components listed here. The work I want to see is the name of the component, the mean, the standard deviation, and the probability of X is less than whatever it is, 42 in this case, equals the answer. Or you can show what you type in the calculator. Norm, CDF, since this is less than, our lower limit is negative 9E999, upper limit is 42, our value, then our mean and standard deviation equals the answer. So I want a whole list of those, 17 of those. So it's very tedious, but it's pretty straightforward. Then write up a summary of which blood components she should be worried about according to our criteria. Explain using complete sentences. Her criteria is here. It's not the same as our cutoff. So, again, number 1, simple calculations, finding mean and standard deviation using her rule. 2, find the probabilities that either X is less than or greater than her value, depending on if her value is less than the mean or greater than the mean. Read the examples. Showing the correct work. B, summarize which ones she should be worried about, which ones she should look into, using her criteria. So obviously it has to do with the probabilities, your answer to 2A. And then what assumptions did you make and any limitations. Please read through it carefully. This could be and should be a very easy case study.